Jesus fixing to spread a table for us. We better eat.
Amen.
Because what's a-coming?
Amen.
Like I said, they may come and bolt these doors. You better get what you can get while you can get it.
Amen.
And I was thinking about the book of Amos the other day. It's coming a famine in the land.
Yeah.
Need for bread, need for water, just for hearing the word of God. You better get your ears ready. You better get hungry for Jesus.
Thank you.
So let's all give a great big hand for Jesus and Brother Jeff Adkins as he comes to minister the word.
Thank you, Lord.
I want to thank the Lord for being here tonight. This is one of those words that you really don't even know how it's going to go. Talking to Brother JR, I said, sometimes I believe we just overthink. But the other night when them guys was passing around this mic to each other, I'm sitting over and I'm saying, I hope you don't reach out to me. Because I'm not that one of instantly I got something to say. But God did give me a thought, so I said, well, if you reach it to me, I'm going to say what I got. And that's all I can do. And it was about the song. I thought Sister Jamie sang it here one night, but she may have not. But it was about the two coats. Taking off the old and putting on the new. And I remember my dad loved that song. David Vickers' wife used to sing it over about every night just for my dad. And he loved it. But I was thinking about how that a lot of times when we are lost out in the world and we come to God and we come to this altar, we take off the old man and we start a new life in Jesus Christ. But over time, if you watch close enough, you'll see people taking off the old coat and they'll put on a new one for a while. But when troubles and trials and tribulations come, they'll want to put back on the old coat. Amen. And that's where we'll get in trouble a lot. And I was thinking, I don't know exactly really how this is going to go. Hope you can get a nugget or something. I can just give it to you. I was able to call Larry today, even though I talked to him today. I was able to call and say, you got anything? I just kind of want to get out of this. So when I get aggravated, I don't know exactly what to do. And you know, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to say something that's out of God's will. And then I was reading, just imagine tonight if you was in a place of perfection and you never needed anything else, what would give you a desire to sin against God? If you already had it all, you was in a place of paradise, and there is no bad things in this place, what would give us a desire to do wrong? I told my brother JR, it's kind of like the old saying, curiosity killed the cat. And that's what's happened to mankind. Amen. God has made a way for us. He has blessed us. And in the beginning of time, it says that everything that He created, it was good. And guess who made it bad? Hold your hand up.
Amen.
We made it bad because we wanted to sin.
Amen.
We wanted to do things our own way. And I caught this thought tonight. I tried to study this before I got around here. Watch the baptism of my sister. When Adam and Eve was in the garden, they had everything they wanted. Everything was there for them.
Yes.
What more would you want? Well, here comes that devil.
Amen.
And he throws out a little old thing. And her curiosity caused man downfall.
Amen.
And we're paying for it. And if anybody goes out in the world in the last while now, you've got a lot of crazy people out there.
Amen.
But I'm going to show you the best of my ability, with God's grace help me, that believe they've sinned here. She took of it, and then he took of it because she asked him to. And I'm thinking, boy, this is a mess up. It's because somebody else does something, don't mean I got to do it.
Amen.
Come on.
Don't try to talk me into what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, because I've done struggled this far to get myself out of things.
Yeah.
Man.
Life deals us certain things in life, and we don't really know how to handle it. But if we let God show us, we can do it. Just not going to get deep into this little fault, but today there was something happened here at this church, and I was kidding with Brother Lionel. I thought I was going to have to open a can up on him. Not him, but just going on crazy stuff. And that's the way we are. And probably a year ago, I probably would have opened his mouth and spoke things I probably shouldn't. But God has changed me, and He's changed me more.
Praise the Lord.
And I look for Him to change me every day. Because I've learned this, if I hold this peace,
Yes.
He's going to fight my battle. And if I hold my tongue would really like to speak sometimes, then I continually have to be on my knees repenting.
Amen.
I'm going to show you how mankind, they try it. They try to do good. They think they're doing good. But they ain't. In
The beginning.
just in this, I'm going to read a little bit here. And I'm just going to try to do something. I'm going to talk about how that, where they sinned. And the Bible says when they did open their eyes, where they sinned, they understand they know that they were mad. And they tried to do what was right, man. They sewed those fig leaves together to try to cover up their shame. But it wasn't good enough for God. What we do in this life on our own ain't good enough for God. We don't bind in the Spirit. We don't bind in the way of the Lord and do it His way. No matter how good we think we are, I believe we're just a bunch of stink in the nostrils of Jesus Christ. I believe that He has set a perfect path before us. And I know we each and every one are striving to get to a better place, to a perfect place. And I was reading this, and I wrote this little thought down, but that story is right there in the first part of Genesis. It goes on, it talks about how everything was created was good. And then it goes over and it talks about the downfall of man. It says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, had God said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God had said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die, for God doeth know that in the day you eat thereof, that your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Now they already learned everything good here, so it only left the evil of life. Why would you want it if you got a perfect life? Why is our flesh always crying out for the wrong things of this life? You know, but God is a merciful God.
Yeah.
But what if God would have, you can sit down, I may read some more of this, just sit down. What if God no longer had mercy on us? What if we sinned and He said, I'm not going to forgive you no more because I've corrected you, let's say, 5 times. And you should know better now, but that ain't the God that we serve. He's a merciful God. And I know in our flesh, and over the years, I've not been perfect, and I've said things, and I've done things, and I've looked on things that I shouldn't have done, even though I know better, but I've done it anyway. But now, as I get more wiser in God's Word, and I listen to the Spirit of God, things that once bothered me don't bother me like it did before.
Amen.
So God knows exactly what it's going to take for us to get out of here. No matter how good we are, I believe that we're always going to have some kind of mess up so we can come to Him. If we don't mess up into a point of time, we're not going to go to God more often than we should. But we should want to spend, I believe, more time with God than we ever did, because we're living in a time that now, I believe that peerless times are coming and they're going to get worse. And I don't want to say this in a bad word, but I've never seen a time that there's so much stupid in the world. And the old saying is, you can't fix stupid. The only body can do that is Jesus Christ. We've got people falling out and doing things that's ungodly, and they're just come contrary to the nature of Jesus Christ. They're trying to live in a world that they want it to be, and not what God intended for it to be. God had made a way for us to have everything in our life we desire. But going on here, I'm going to say, said the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. Turn one word around, causes mankind to go AWOL.
Yep, one word.
For God doeth know that in the day you eat thereof, that your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as God, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave unto her husband with her, and he did eat. See, God told Adam to start with not to eat thereof. And that's what it is a lot of times. But God says to us not to do it, not to look upon this or not to think upon these things. That's what we want to do. But our flesh cries out for whatever the tension in life is. But I'm grateful that we're serving a God today. And I'm going to get to this little part right here. And it said, let me see right here, God, this be merciful. When God came and He spoke in the cool of the day and said, where art thou? And He came down and He said, I'm hid. And He asked him the question, and he said that he was naked. And he said, how do you know that? And you eat of what I told you not to. And he did. He admitted his sins to God. And even though they know what they've done is wrong, and they try to cover themselves up, it calls it sewing fig leaves together, calls it an apron. I don't know as much about what that really represents, but it wasn't good enough. First thing is, any kind of forgiveness has got to be a blood sacrifice. And that's what God done. He took of one of the animals and He killed to make them a coat to cover themselves up more appropriately. But that, I believe any kind of forgiveness had to come through a blood sacrifice. And that's the reason when Jesus Christ came, He came once and for all, because mankind couldn't have never had enough in this life they wouldn't have been no animals, and enough of animals in this world to offer the sin for our people now.
Amen.
And I read that, and I'm going to read this little thing I wrote. Then I'm going to get into maybe another section or something here. It said the coats and skins were God's provision to restore Adam and Eve back to the fellowship. Just to show you mankind thinks they can put on anything and it will do. The fig leaves was not satisfying to God. It took the animal to die because it takes the blood to cover your sins. And the skin covers the body. He put them out of the garden. He put them out of the garden not to be cruel or any of that.
Right.
He put them out for the mercy's sake. Because if they would eat of the other tree, they'd have been in a lost stage the rest of their days. They would have never died. They would have never known what it was. But God's mercy made a way for them to find grace in the eyes of God. And that's the way it is with us today. We mess up when we shouldn't. Some of us has been in this long enough that we shouldn't do the things that we do. We shouldn't get angry. We shouldn't talk about our neighbors. We shouldn't gossip. We shouldn't backbite. We shouldn't do any of these things because they are all little sins that cause harm to the body of Christ. And a lot of times people don't know or might not understand your little Asians or your little foxes is full of the vine that God has put in you that you can't develop enough to bring forth the fruit of love that God is wanting the church to grow in. And that's where, a lot of times I believe that's where the church is lacking because we ain't seeing the things that God promised us we can see. But God ain't going to work over sin. He's not going to work over doubt. He's not going to do it. Amen. Until we get all things under the blood of the Lamb, we're not going to see a great move of God. And if we need to wake up and really pray that God, you put every sin under the blood. Father, teach us not to talk about our neighbors. Teach us, Lord God, not to lust. Teach us, God, not to speak ill of people, Lord, or get angry and start. I just like to pop that head off. You know, ever been there? I have.
Come on, brother.
I like those times that you be driving down the road and somebody give you that little cut off real quick and you just use the word "this stupid" and you think, well, Lord, I probably shouldn't have said that. Even though in our flesh we believe and we think we're all right by saying these things, but what we need to do, we need to just keep our cool and let God's Spirit lead us.
Amen.
I'm going to use a fall here. I told Brother JR I've seen this. In all the years I've read, I never saw this. Joseph is a Christ-like type. A type and a shadow of what Jesus Christ is. I just caught this through this. And I guess maybe this is one of the things that was troubled my spirit so much. I didn't know exactly what it was all about. And I know that he was talking about the night over here about the two coats, taking off the old and putting on the new. And I know that how people, they come to the altar most times, and most people do good. And a lot of people do good for years and years. And it just seemed like they develop faster than others. But a lot of times we take it off and we want to put it back on. Because I believe a lot of people love sin more than what they love Jesus Christ. They love what the feeling is. But I was reading this about Joseph. Now here's a man that he had favor of God from the start of life. And God just used him for this purpose. I pray this comes out where you can understand me. God took this man and he let him dream dreams. And when he interpreted, his brothers got mad, jealousy. And you know, even in the house of God, jealousy causes division. It causes us to think odd or hurtful feelings towards one another when we shouldn't. Why should I care if God uses this young brother here greater than me? I shouldn't care a lick. I should get behind him. I don't care if I've been this about 35 years or somewhere close to that. If God uses them, we should get behind them. And we need for God to use whoever He will. But that ain't really how it is in our life. We've been, well, who do they think they are? Well, you're a child of the King, ain't you? We're all a child of God. If we're serving Him and we're keeping Him, it don't make no difference. You can go back to little David. You know, they was looking at the statue part of it, but God don't look at that. God looks at a pure heart.
Yes.
I don't care who God uses. I'll tell you tonight, I feel least among anybody in here. Even though I've been on some heavy roads, I do. I feel it because I don't want to be lifted up nowhere. I just want God to be God. I want to see God move.
Yeah.
That's my desire. It's always been my desire.
Yeah.
But this boy, he had the dream, but they got mad because Daddy gave him a little pretty coat, many collars,
Yeah.
and they seen the favoritism. But not only did Daddy see the favoritism, God had favoritism with him.
Amen.
And that's what it's all about. If we can ever gain the favor in the sight of God,
Yes.
we can do great things for the Lord.
Come on.
Because God can use us, and He knows that He can trust us with whatever it is. And a lot of people just can't be trusted with the things of God because they don't know how to handle it right now. Like me, I couldn't handle this back. I don't know how good I'm handling it now, but I just know that I couldn't handle it back 5 years or 10 years ago. I had a speak that I didn't care. I'd have killed you in a heartbeat and probably wouldn't have cared. That's sad, but that's the truth. I'm just here to tell you the truth.
Praise the Lord.
I just spoke it. If you got hurt, you got hurt. And that wasn't nothing on me then. I just didn't understand. But I understand now. If I could say a word to help anybody, that's what my goal is now. To have a desire to please God.
Yeah.
Because I find out this. I know for a fact that in my life I've gossiped about people. You know, I see things going on and I didn't hesitate to just run this mouth to just say whatever I felt at that time. But now I say, Lord, you know what's going on. You know what's best for them, I don't. But the best thing for me to do is keep my mouth shut and let God control me. And that's what this boy done. This boy, he found favor in the sight of God. He had favor with his dad. And that caused jealousy. And I got thinking about everything that he done. Came up here and Jesus Christ had to go through the same things.
Come on.
Joseph was sold for 20 pieces of silver. God was sold betrayed for 30 pieces. But then in Joseph's day, just a short time, the price of a slave went up to 30 pieces. So what I can understand, and I might be correct, I guess that in that day Jesus Christ was sold out. They sold him out for the price of a slave.
Yeah.
He was betrayed, and that's what it is. People, besides getting on board with one another, we're finding things to come against each other. And it's a time that we shouldn't even be doing that. I was reading how that Joseph went on, and they sold him, and he went on, and he had this much favor with God that someone down in Egypt bought him, took him into the palace, and he was highly favored because they saw that God was with him. Everything that this man touched prospered.
Yeah.
And that's what it is when we are doing God's will in the right sense of the way, our journey will prosper.
Yes.
People will be saved, healed, and set free. And I kept reading the story, and I thought, well, when Jesus came, he came up on the scene when he was a child, but then he took a detour and didn't come back on the scene until he was like 30 years old. Well, at 30 years old, Joseph became the ruler down in Egypt over the famine that was coming up on the land because Pharaoh seen enough in him to know that God had given him
Come on.
thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Gave him enough wisdom
Yeah.
to take care of the goods.
Hallelujah.
And that's what it's all about. See, we don't look at what God's doing in people's lives. We're thinking, well, them guys are too young, or they're wanting to do their own thing. But God wants to use the young while he can, because he said in the Word of God, serve him in you.
Yeah.
When your mind is still sharp, and you can keep his sayings. And that's what it's all about. And I read that, and back when he had that dream, let's think about this for a moment. And he had that dream, and he told it to his brothers, boy, they got mad. More or less, are you going to bow? You think we're going to bow down to you? And he has another dream and talks about Daddy and Mommy this time. Daddy does rebuke him, but Daddy does deserve the same what he said.
Amen.
But here's how it comes about. God's not going to speak a word and not let it not come to pass.
Amen.
Right.
There's a point in time for all things.
Yeah.
But when this came to him, he got sold down there. He got put in a palace, left that old sheep field, and went into the palace, about like little King David did there. But he went on, and he found favor. And here's how the devil works. There's always somewhere the devil's at.
Yes, sir.
He's always out there. So you boys out here on this battlefield, watch for that little devil. Because there's always somewhere one's lurking. He was doing good. And his master man, he saw all that he was doing.
Come on.
But this man's wife
Uh-huh.
had the wrong eye.
Yeah.
And she tried to entice him, tried to force him into laying with her. And I thought this, and I know there's kids in here, but sometimes you just got to say something. How many men would really been able to pass that test?
Come on, brother.
You know? But Joseph was a man after God's heart.
Amen.
God knows it, so it didn't mean nothing to him. So here's this woman, but that little coat. She used that little coat. That's one of the things I was thinking about, this coat that's involved in all this. This coat was used against him. She took it. She lied.
Amen.
And even though that master knew he was a good man, still, that's his wife, and I got to do something about this. So he throws him in the prison house. But God's in the prison house.
Amen.
He finds favor down there with the keeper.
Come on.
You know, it says something about he was a slave for all these years, but I couldn't see, my understanding can't see how he could have been a slave because he had a maid down there. He had the roam around. He could do anything he wanted to do. But anyway, that's just the way it is. God made a way. But while he was down there, these other guys had a dream, he interpreted. And that's what God does. God does things right in the midst of our prison house that maybe our flesh can't understand at that moment. But God works things out in ways that we can't catch. And I sat there and I watched in there how that Joseph, a man that was favored of God, and he found favor down through there. And how that this woman tried to snare him. But then God just made a way for him to find favor with the keeper of the prison. He was down there for a time, and then he came back up into the palace. And he worked. God worked through him again. The king had a dream, and he interpreted. And this is where it's at. I believe where it's me or one of these other brothers or some of you sisters, if God gives you something and it interprets it, and it's right there for you, it's going to come. And he's going to give you enough knowledge and understanding. And I thought about how this little boy was 17 years old when they sold him in for a slave. But when he came 30, that's 13 little short years, man, he come to the second in the land. And I was reading there how that, man, he put that big old ring up on him.
Yeah.
Put that fine chain around his neck.
Come on.
Give him the second chariot. Just blessed him all the way. And that's what it is. Sometimes in our life we got to just wait on the timing of God.
That's right.
You know, you may be going for a dry spell now, but you can believe me, there's water in the valley.
Come on.
It's going to come.
Yeah.
I just want to read a little bit of these things so I don't miss nothing.
Come on, brother.
I just know that when Joseph done these things, he done it same like what Jesus did. Jesus come for the purpose to die for our sins. His blood covered our sins. And really the only time that it ain't really covered is when we're sinning willfully.
Come on.
But he is merciful enough to forgive. Then he goes on, and he was betrayed by his friends. And he spoke this word down there. He said, I was wounded in the house of my friends. And I found this out for sure in my life, walking this way. Right here in the house of God, you got some bad enemies. But you got to look past them.
Amen.
You got to go forward and let God be God. But Jesus came and he done all that. And I seen that and I thought, man, Joseph is a shadow and a type of Jesus Christ. And all these years reading that, I never did see it. But it wasn't meant to be then. And everything that he done, God done, but greater.
Amen.
And that's what it's all about. I'm going to read these little things I might have done mention, but I want to make sure I don't leave nothing out. And the two coats, the old and the new, Joseph had a coat that showed favor with his dad, Israel. From the favor of his earthly father to the favor of his earthly father. From the blood of the goat to the blood of the Lamb of God. Joseph sold for 30 pieces of silver. Jesus sold for, Joseph sold for 20 pieces of silver and Jesus sold for 30. Both men was betrayed. I put down rags to riches. The coat of covering and restoring to fellowship. Sometimes things become dead. They got to come dead before they come alive.
Amen.
It's a resurrection thing. God's punishment was not that. The punishment by putting them out was not a punishment, but of mercy. Because he knows if they stayed in there, what would happen. And sometimes we don't really think about why God whips us, why God corrects us for doing certain things, but really it's about mercy.
Yes, it is.
Because he wants us, his children, to be just like him.
Amen.
He wants us to be perfect and upright. And Lord God, I wish I'd have saw this quicker in my Christian walk. I think I would have been a whole lot better man than I am now. But my dad told me one time, he said, I wish I'd have served God quicker. And I said, God gave it to you when he knowed you could handle it. And that's the way it is with us. I might not could have handled this 20 years ago. But God knows. And I'm thankful. It says in life we see, I don't want to read that. That's a different story. It says Joseph had favor with Jacob, but he had favor with God. It says his brothers hated him because they knew that their dad loved him more. I've seen this in church, and probably you all have too. God starts working with somebody, other people get jealous. And I never really understood that. Why should we care who God uses as long as it should benefit the whole body of Christ?
Amen. Right.
We're not, it ain't. Just say, well, a hunter goes out and he wins 10 souls. Well, why should you get jealous of him, or why should I? Because you're doing it for Jesus Christ. You're winning souls onto the kingdom of God.
Amen.
And that's what it should be about. We should back our brothers and sisters up and pray for them. Just let God be God in their lives. You know, right now this world needs boo-hoo's a preacher, preaching the truth. Because right now the world's got us so watered down, man, they think they can do anything.
Yep.
They live anything, they go anywhere they want to. They die, boy, they preach them right into heaven.
Yep.
What a shame it is that people has got blinders on. But they really think it's going to be that way. It says he had a dream about them sheaves. And this is where it's at. He had that about them bowing down. Boy, that really put the gas on the fire. Caused a lot of bitterness. And I wanted to make the mention about, I done did, but the slave price went up $2.30, just like Jesus was sold. But this sheep thing, this is something that really caught me. Jesus Christ said in the last days that every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord. And here in this little statement, Joseph had done told them that they would bow to him one day, and like a lot of hard-headed, pride people like once I was, and said, "You think I'm going to bow to you, buddy?" And that's just the way it is. But here came this right over in the time that they bowed. They bowed because that's just the way it is. If God gives us a word, it's going to fulfill itself. It's not a lie. God don't lie. So if God tells you that, if God would give Brother Larry a vision, say, "Hey, there's going to be 20 new people come in here tomorrow night," let's say tomorrow night. So if Larry trusts God or where he don't, that 20 people will come through the door. You know, we know that people are kind of drifting from this place for whatever reason, but God is able to fulfill the building again because he's got a desire and a vision, and I got one with him because I trust him. You know, and there was a word spoken the other day, and I said, you better watch what you say, because when you start putting your mouth up on a man of God or a woman of God, you're touching the anointing of God. And people think they can just say anything, Brother Larry, against preachers or whatever, and it's all right, but it ain't, because somewhere God's going to bust somebody.
Yes.
You know, that's just hillbilly slang there.
That's who we are.
We understand.
I ain't got no fancy words. Don't want none. I'm gonna, here's about the way Jesus Christ was. We could even use Stephen in this when they stoned him to death. Here's what the love of Christ do for you. Lord, don't add this to the charge. Jesus Christ from the cross spoke the same thing.
Yes.
Don't add this to them.
Yeah.
And when these guys, when their daddy died there down in the land of Egypt, they fought Joseph. They thought they had it. And then probably in our natural way, we probably thought, well, yeah, they need that. But he ain't that way, because he was a Christ-like child. He said, you all meant it bad or evil to me, but God meant it good.
Amen.
He made this path, more or less, this road for me, to save much life. And that ain't that rich.
Bless him, Lord.
That's the reason Jesus Christ came.
Amen.
Pay a price
Come on, brother.
Amen.
for much souls
Yeah.
for the kingdom of God.
Yes.
And that's what it is. God's going to use whosoever he will. And that's what it's all about. I'm grateful for this little story that I read about Joseph. Being a great character like Jesus Christ. And that's the way we need to pray, that we can just form into what God wants. Now, he could have been one of those people, well, Daddy's gone now and you have it. But he never. He just spoke this. He spoke with love. And that's what Jesus Christ done. And I'm glad to know that the God that we serve is a long-suffering and a merciful Savior who is willing to come and die for someone like me. So I think that's all I'm got to say.
Bless him.